Buy, deliver with the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
Three, two, one, and welcome back to episode 78 of Chasing the Racing. And ladies and gents, we're back in lockdown. We've got Dom's moved back into the Rousset household so we can carry on bringing these podcasts once a week.
Much to the disgust of your mother, you know what I mean? Me running around in a drawer regularly, just, last time I got to it. So
I tell you what, tonight's tea was a bit special, wasn't it?
Jesus, mate, how are you that thin? Speaking of thin, why are you sitting like a thin Buddha on your sofa here? What's going on here? Yoga classes, young'un?
I look like I'm yoga. Well, for people that aren't watching this on YouTube, they won't really understand what's going on.
The audible side of it. So would you explain this quite perverse situation that you've put yourself in? That is not comfortable.
It is for me.
It is. Oh, there's a conversation killer. So that was tonight's podcast.
This is just an intro for. We actually did a recording when we were down at Mallory Park last week. We were on the Brew Time, which is the lovely YouTuber that came to see us.
Built like a Viking.
And
he was Scottish, which was a bit of a shock to me.
He drove up from Kent, but he was Scottish. But fantastic channel on YouTube. It's called Teapot
He's from
One.
Kent.
That's where he came from, yeah. He drove up on his GS from Kent. But it's called Teapot One. It's on YouTube, and so it's available to listen as a podcast, a little bit like this, but also video on YouTube as well. Very similar sort of format to what we do, but me and Dom were the guests.
He's better.
Me and Dom were the guests on that one. So if you're interested, check that out on his YouTube channel or as a podcast.
Well, I'll tell you what, before you move on from this, give a little explanation to who this guy is. I had no idea he lived in Kent. He was a big Scotsman with a beard, but he's got a hell of a story, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I had a bit of a catch up before the podcast started, and basically he used to work for the Met Police, like sort of on a motorbike, but
nobody likes snitches.
It was something to do with looking after the Prime Minister and stuff. But at the same time that he was working for the Met, he was doing YouTube stuff, road bike tests, and I think he did a road test of a S1000R when it first came out, and it was pretty obvious on the review that he was speeding on UK roads. And I think one of his colleagues that wasn't a big fan of his grassed him up, and they basically give him the option of either you quit the YouTube thing and you can keep your job, or off you go. And so he took that option, and after 18 years in the police, this is all on the podcast, you may as well just listen to it, but 18 years in the police.
No, we're going to get the views here, Chrissy. You just keep going, son.
He quit, and he does sort of bike reviews and podcasts and that type of stuff. But yeah, really interesting guy. He went around the world on a motorbike, and I think he wrote a book about it and various things. But yeah, if it just type in Teapot One, it's on all the social media and website and YouTube and whatever. But yeah, really interesting guy. And I listened back to the podcast, and I think it was really good crack, to be honest. There was a few funny things. So yeah, I would recommend you that. But yeah, for this podcast, we were down at Mallory Park because we were doing a thing called a FreeTech Endurance race, and both my team and Dom's team were racing with, just by pure coincidence, we were both teammates with 15-year-old girls. On the evening after we were finished, we thought it would be a great chance to sit down, and what a great perspective it is, entering the sport as a female, and just sort of give their perspective. And it was nice. I don't think either of them had ever done anything like this before as well, so I'd imagine it would be quite, like, certainly when I was that age, I would find this very daunting, but they both were very professional, and it was a really nice conversation. I wasn't sure if it was going to be sort of 10 minutes or 40 minutes.
And pulling teeth kind of thing. You think at the end of the day, they are 15, 16-year-old girls, it's a bit like, well, what crack can you have about that? But no, the good thing about them is their immediate confidence, not overconfidence. There's a huge difference between that. But the fact is, okay, let's jump down the sexist route. You know what I mean? It is a male-driven sport, and you touch on that situation, like on that conversation with them, you know, the fact that it is a male-driven sport. But you can tell their confidence comes through in these interviews. First, it takes a while for them to get going, and then they just get warmed up, and it's like, here we go, they're flowing. And you can tell they're out to beat everyone, you know, boys and girls.
Absolutely, and you'll get this from watching the podcast or listening to it. But it was really interesting to see their perspective in terms of, it's almost like it's irrelevant that the girls.
Brilliant.
I kind of wanted to ask about it to see what their opinion was, and if they'd sort of had experiences or whatever, or like, for example, if they'd, you know, like seen someone like Anna Carrasco and thought, hey, I can do that. But it was the way they answered it, it was almost as if like, well, I didn't have to see somebody else do it. Like it was just as if they didn't see the fact that they were female as a barrier, and which is obviously the way it should be.
Exactly.
And it was so brilliant to see that sort of honesty, and kind of they were a bit like, well, obviously, like
duh,
yeah, duh. But
no, like you say, that is the actual important message here, that it wasn't like a political drive at all, if you know what I mean. It's like, well, women, we can do something a little bit different, and it's like, no, for them, they just want to go out and race motorcycles. And like you just said, that is exactly what it's about.
And considering they've both not been racing long, they
can ride a bike, the pair of them, they can ride motorcycles without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I really enjoyed it. So we've got that coming up anyway, and we've got a few other bits and pieces to touch on before then. But first of all, we usually just have a quick catch up of how the week's going. Have you got much to report?
Well, right. It's bit me in the arse, mate. You know how useless I am with my phone. It's totally bit me in the arse. So it's like, really, well, let's start it off. Do you want the bad news or the worst news?
I'll go with the bad news to start off.
Well, the bad news is the doctor's been in touch, and he's found, like, I've been going in and out and getting checks, and he's found out I've only got 7 days left to live.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's the bad news.
Go on, the worst news.
He's been trying to get in touch with us for 7 days. Yeah, that wasn't worth it, was it? That wasn't even remotely good. I'm trying to like go better than Piggy here, which is just nigh on impossible.
It is.
There we go. By the way, that last interview that we did, yeah, that was the last one you released, wasn't it?
It hasn't actually been out at this point at which we're doing this recording. I haven't actually released that other than on Patreon, but it'll be going out tonight.
All I'm glad is if he stepped out of this studio without saying a joke, we would have got publicly lynched. So obviously, you would have listened to it by now, and if you haven't, go back and listen to it. I'm trying to think how this podcasting thing works now, but no. As far as work, you know, lockdown 2.0 is among. It is among. It's amongst us, and it hasn't slowed our industry down one bit. They haven't shut the sawmills, and really, when you look at the traffic, it hasn't. Even the schools are still open. Yes, you can't go get a haircut. You think obviously them sides of the business, that's going to hit them really hard. You know, obviously the tourism side, and obviously the last plague of this. So you know, when all the industries got hit, but it doesn't seem to have. It's not shut down or locked down to what it was.
No, it's not. It's definitely not as severely locked down as the first one.
Which is good. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. We're not a political show in here whatsoever. We chat shite about motorcycles. That's what we're doing here. But really, it is what it is. Exactly. It is what it is. But it's.
But anyway, it's a good job that we've got a spare bedroom anyway, and you've been able to move in, so we can keep the podcast coming. It would have been a shame to knock that down, because especially this time of the year, it is the highlight of my week. And we were just chatting earlier about. So last weekend, we're down at Mallory on the Saturday, which we'll kind of talk about in this podcast in the interview. And then on the Sunday, you went up to Teesside to race in the British Mini Bike Championship.
Yes, for my... Oh, God, I was about to say, that was perfectly good time, wasn't it? The Moto Pit Bike Spares team there. Yeah, a bit of hoodie action.
Before I move on, how did you get on with?
Shite. No. So, the Moto, the Pit Bike Spares team, they... got a couple of champions, 3, and they've all in the top 10. They run a lot of riders, but because we were down at Mallory Park on the Saturday, bombing around on the bikes and having a right good time. 100. Let's go to the Mallory situation before going into pit bikes. Was there 100 riders or 100 bikes There couldn't have been 100 bikes, was there?
No, there was definitely over 90 because there was 92 finishers and there was shitloads that didn't. Yeah, I think there were probably 100 starters.
That is unreal. You know, when you think it's like Hudson Kenner that runs it?
Yes.
And obviously the street name for it is the No Insurance Endurance. It's I couldn't believe there was that many people. And what a fantastic event they ran there. But at 6 hours.
Do you know the amount of people that have messaged me after, from last week when we did the race, the amount of people that have messaged me and said, I think I'm going to buy a 125 and do it next year. There was 100 on the grid at Mallory. I don't know. I think they're going to have to run like different classes or something because there's that much interest and excitement around it. It's mad.
But you see, that's what made for me. Like I remember sitting there. It was a 6 hour, but they had to have an hour gap for lunch, didn't they? Because obviously the noise complaints.
Yeah.
So now they ran that very, very clever. Obviously there was no advantage gained. You had to stop the bike on the track.
Yeah.
So you couldn't alter or fuel or nothing like that. It was brilliantly ran, and you had to, when you came in the pits, you had to stop your bike and then push it to even a cone section. Then you had to go fill up outside of there. It was really well thought of, to the point of they're actually going to run. I have no idea which track it's at. They're going to run a 24-hour one.
Teesside, they've announced.
Is it a Teesside?
Yeah, 24 hours in April, or is it April or May next year? But yeah.
Are you up for it?
I've already had a few offers from different people saying, "Oh, I'm going to build a bike."
How did you get an offer? Hold on. Let's pick on you a little bit. Haven't you had your so? I'm sitting across the British Superstock 1000 Championship. You haven't cocked up once at all. You haven't dropped the bike once. Now you get on a 125 and the shit hits the fan for your son. What on earth happened? Go on.
I had my first off of the season.
His first race incident on a 125.
Do you know? I was thoroughly enjoying it. You know, it was good fun because when you race in the big bikes, you never get any time to relax. Basically, it's full on all the time, concentration, and obviously with the speed and the expense of the machinery, you kind of, a crash is like a disaster, where with these things they're that slow on the straight, you've got so much time to kind of think, and you're almost like looking around at the scenery, and but anyway, with there being 100 people on track at the same time, the track is crazy busy, and there's a big range of experience. So obviously there's a big difference between the fastest and the slowest. And I just got caught out. So for people that know Mallory, you've got Gerrard's, and because the bikes are that slow, they added a chicane, like the BSB chicane, in to give it some character.
Obviously they don't run BSB at Mallory anymore, but when did that chicane? Now I had no idea. I've never even seen that chicane at Gerrard's. It was like.
Yeah, they're running the BSB. It's to slow you down coming out of Gerrard. But
that would have been crap on a big bike.
Yeah.
If that chicane was how they ran it at BSB, that would have been utter shite. There's no two words about it. It literally just stop, turn, fire. The point is, like, at that event, they said you can't overtake.
No, it was on the first lap. You weren't allowed to overtake that chicane. The first lap you weren't allowed to overtake. The rest of it you were.
Oh, thank God, I thought I was going to get bollocked because I passed everyone going into
I was doing the same. But,
we may get this wrong. We're going to get like Hudson Kenner. We should get him on as a guest.
Yeah,
Where's he based?
I don't know, somewhere down south, I think.
Oh, God, everyone's a bloody sub. By the way, sorry for interrupting you yet again, but if there's any people that want to travel north, yes, we're on lockdown 2.0, and yes, we'll just get a quick sample test off you and we'll get that sorted. But no, if there's anyone who wants to come up and get interviewed, for God's sake, please get in touch and we'll be more than happy to accommodate you.
Yeah. But the race itself, obviously there was loads of like sort of BSB riders and people that have sort of used to racing with on the short circuits, and but obviously with there being a massive gap between the fast lads and the slow lads, obviously the closing speed is huge, and sometimes you brake, and as you're going in the corner you're kind of waiting for a gap to open and then go through it. Anyway, there was a little kid, I'm not sure what his name was, but he was in British Talent Cup leathers, and I was kind of was he on a 50 or a...
No.
Anyway, it was fast on the straight, so there was me, Phil Atkinson, Storm Stacey, and then this little kid, and he kept passing us on the straight, and then I was kept passing him back in the corners, and he kept like missing gears and stuff, so I was getting past him, and anyway, I was going into the chicane at Gerrard's, and as I got into like tipping into the right, there was a slow rider in the middle of the track, and all I can say is if the guy who's who I took out, if he's listening to this, I am so sorry because it was well out of order. But I just fully committed to going up the inside. And as I got to the corner, I was anticipating him tipping in and like following him through, but he just wasn't. And I was like, and then as I got to him, he tipped in, and I just properly like nailed him on the inside, knocked us both clean off. And yes, anyway, got back to the pits, and
With the bike knocked.
No, to be fair, the bike wasn't bad. That wasn't what stopped us riding. But then we carried on racing for maybe another hour or so, and then for some reason the bike just started losing power, and it went. To be honest, it wasn't actually a bad bike. The bike I was on, for the class that it was in, it was pretty good. Like,
so you had street stock, and then you had like super stock.
It was like a tuned and a stock version,
yes,
wasn't it? We were in the stock version, and yeah, it was reasonably competitive. But yeah, like I said, it just started losing power, and then it wasn't even pulling the gears. So I pulled in, and then a few other people tried, and we didn't get to the problem of what the issue was. But I think it was only about 2 hours into the race where I pull in. But do you want to give a quick rundown on how your race went?
No, we had Ryan Garside from Maya Butclough College, whatever it was.
Maya's cool.
That's that. Obviously, it is a very good.
They're an ex-sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, I know, but it's a fantastic educational system. But I can't personally get the name right. But ironically, we're giving them more publicity by me not being able to pronounce Maya Butclough.
I will just give Ryan's course a shout out, because it's the motorsport course, and if anyone's wanting to get on for next year, get in touch with Ryan Garside on social media. And if you want to basically, Ryan takes his race bikes into the workshop, and then you learn everything on like how to strip bikes, prepare bikes. You know, for somebody that would like a career, maybe working in the paddock or in the sport, fantastic. So finish school at 16, go there for a year or 2 years or whatever.
Because Lizzie, one of our guests that we're going to do on the interview, she's actually going to apply to go to that course, which would be good.
And
he's a stress head.
Ewan McGuinness, John's son, he's not on that course. I think he's on the motorsport. It's some motorsport course, but it's at the same establishment. And
right.
But yeah, it sounds like I would have loved to have done something.
That's
like
what I
that.
mean.
So.
I was thinking that because my mate Josh Watson, he's down in university doing it in Wales. It's Swansea, but see, all them students go straight into MotoGP.
Yeah, the guy that runs that
into MotoGP.
The guy that I mean, that's a university course, so you could go on to it. But the guy that runs that course, if it's still the same guy, works for Tech 3. He's like really high up in Tech 3, like a crew chief or whatever. And yeah, if you're looking to go to MotoGP, that's a great course.
No, but see, this course of life, like this walk of life. Imagine it, I'm trying to think, what age do you finish university? Obviously, I never went, but
21.
21, you pack your bags and you're flying around the world. That is literally what you're going to get at 21, you know what I mean? There's lots of university students that come out and go work in nothing wrong with that, I'm not having a go at people working in Tesco's, but they go get something crap like an art major that really doesn't benefit anything else. So, but this is a course that you could really build a future on, thinking. But like you say, Maya Butclough there, go to his one first and then build it up from there.
To get Maya's Butclough from Maya's Co.
Maya Butclough, there you go. It's so a fantastic educational facility. So Ryan would be screaming. He's a stress head though. He's a total stress head.
The reason we're mentioning Ryan is because he was your teammate in the endurance race.
He's a total stress head. He's coming in going, I'm having to slip the clutch, the throttle cables are too long, the brakes the air temperature's not right. Put that. I'm like, just wind your neck in, princess, and just ride the thing. So you can tell like you'll be a fantastic teacher. You can tell because things have got to be right and things have got to be in order and everything. And you think, nah, this is a good guy. He's a really good guy. So you'll be listening for one thing. He's actually one of our patrons as well. So you'll be cancelling this subscription.
He made
really happily.
The night before the race, he made a homemade quick shifter for your bike because you were kind of cheating with the homemade quick shifter, weren't you?
No, hold on, right, Christopher. Right,
I'm not sure if that's in the super stock regs.
No. It's basically right. That technology's been around for years. It's a kill switch. My dad actually does it in like classic riders. So a quick shifter is essentially a button that goes through the ECU, which you control through your foot. So when you engage gear, it kills the engine perfectly to allow the gearbox to slip like smoothly. So a quick shifter, like an old school one, is you hit the kill switch. So you're not rolling the throttle. So you're not losing time by rolling the throttle. sitting it in the gear, then driving it back on.
So you just keep the throttle pinned, and
totally,
as you change gear, you just press this button
at the same time. So like classic lads have been doing that all year, but Ryan had a good idea, thinking, well, you just put a kill switch on the bike, which worked. And yeah, no, fair play, play.
Anyway, the race, say 192 finishers. Where did you end up?
I have no idea. or look, I'm not being funny, son, but there was only one person I was out there to beat, and I beat him. So there we go. Have a think about it.
What, me?
Yeah, what, me? Yes, you dozy pillock.
Can we count that? The bike packed in?
Winning's winning, isn't it?
Fair enough. I'll give you that one then. But anyway, it was a good day out, and I think everyone was buzzing after the day, and the amount of over on Facebook there's a FreeTech Endurance group page. I'm pretty sure anyone can enter it, so even if you're a tiny bit interested in doing it next year, you can join the group. But it's a bit of a community, and everyone's putting pictures on, preparing bikes and looking for this, looking for that, and the banter's pretty good.
The mad thing is, Team Suzuki turned up. They were actually racing with the 44 Teeth lads, weren't they?
Well, it was Alistair Fagan from 44 Teeth,
yes.
And then Bruce from Fast Bikes magazine, and Tim Neve.
Tim Neve, yeah. So you can imagine, but they actually just had like a road going like Suzuki, and that, to be fair, that thing was absolutely flying. So you can go from like a £500 budget, or you can buy, I don't even know how much one of those bikes are. I think they're like $4,000 brand new.
Is that what they are? So that was in the same class as what we were in, so the stock 125 4-stroke championship. So I mean, that would probably be, would you say that was the best bike to be on?
Well, when you look at what them lads are doing on a stock bike, you know, it's like all of them are absolutely flying. But
their lap times were good, and they won the overall thing as well, didn't they?
Yeah, on a stocker. So it's like, there you go. You've got, like, they can all ride bikes, and obviously you've got Tim, who's been battling it out with you with stock 1000. So it was definitely good crack, and it's 100% worth having a look. Like you say, get yourself on Facebook or YouTube, whatever. It is literally smiles like for miles. It really is.
And so after that night, obviously we stayed there that night, did a few podcasts, had a Domino's, and then the next day you went to Teesside and I went up to what's it called? Fat Cats Motor Park at Doncaster. Now, obviously, I haven't done any motocross since the season started. I haven't been out on my motocross bike, so I thought it would be a great chance. I was really looking forward to getting out, and I've never been on a sand track before, which, I mean, we spoke about this in the podcast. You raced there the other day, and blimey, it's hard, isn't it?
Blimey. That's very descriptive of you there. Oh, blimey.
So I went down there, met Sugar Tits, and Sugar Cube was out first time after taking his cast off.
Yeah.
And I had a fantastic day. Absolutely loved it. And for about 4 or 5 days afterwards, I was like, just things like bending down, and like every single muscle in my legs, my back, my arms, everything was aching. It's the best workout you could possibly get.
Now, Sugar Tits did tell me you had a humongous crash.
Oh, I wouldn't say it was humongous.
Now Sugar's like saying, even to the point, even I'm like, he's hurt himself there.
Really?
Was it that big? Like,
I didn't hurt myself. It was do you know?
It's been big.
It was just as the day goes on, you get more tired and tired, and to ride on sand, you kind of have to sit back, hold the throttle wide open, and pull up so you're kind of skipping over and keeping the front end light. And as the day was going on, I was getting tired, and just a tiny lapse of concentration, and if the front digs in, and you just go flying. So I was going over these and basically just I didn't have the strength to keep pulling up, and just went flying over the handlebars, and
class.
Kind of like sort of high sided, just off over the top and down the side. But like I said, I didn't hurt myself at all. And it was quite funny as well, because right next to Fat Cats Motocross track, there's a little go-kart track, which I'm sure you've been to, for the mini bikes.
And
our friends Mike Norbury, Strawberry Norbury, and Meg were out there.
Say that without smiling.
Out on the
Meg.
mini bikes.
Meg.
So I popped over, and funny enough, I'd promised Meg. Do you know how we got two samples of these new hats that we've got? The woolly hat. So we've got 2 female samples. So Lauren got one, and Meg. I gave Meg one for her birthday. So, but yeah, it was nice to see them both, and.
Just pushing Mike out the way. Hello, Meg. You all right?
This is the
present.
This is. I did actually give Mike something as well, so he wasn't left out.
What a cold shoulder.
But this whole story came from. I was going to tell you, coming back from there on Sunday. Obviously, it was announced that we're going into lockdown, and it just hit us, smacked us in the face. The fact that, you know, every weekend we're always thinking, oh, we're here this next weekend, we're testing this, we're trying to get this, we're, you know, sourcing these parts, and you're that busy with the racing, and you just, I mean, I've pretty much lived in this trailer all year, and here, there, and everywhere.
I noticed you've bleached it.
Yeah, up and down, up and down the country, and you know, you just, and you're always thinking about the next time you're on the bike. And even after the championship finished, the BSB, I was thinking, like, I had flat track booked, and then I was go-kart racing, and then I was motocrossing, and then I was endurance racing, and I'd not really, like, come down from the season. And then I set off from Fat Cats, and it just hit us in the face, like, this year's over. Like, we're going into lockdown. I'm definitely not going to be riding for at least a month, but probably longer. And there's no racing for ages. And I was, obviously, dark nights, the weather was rubbish, and I was driving back, and I wouldn't say I was depressed, but it was like, it just smacked us in the face, and I literally came home and I felt terrible, and I was just like, I was so down in the dumps, and I don't know, it just all, like, seemed to hit us at once. And yeah, I guess you always have a come down, don't you? And I was surprised after Brands, the final round, I never really came down from that. I was still up, and when it did come down, it came down like a ton of bricks. Yeah, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You must, like, after the TT or whatever, you must get a bit of a come.
Oh, totally. It happens every time. I tell you what, one of the best week of my life, bar none, was my first Southern 100. I went with Chicken Charlton, the legend, in Barsby. And for the whole week, right, from the moment you woke up, we were torturing the living crap out of all of each other, and we laughed the entire week. You know, from the moment of waking up till the moment you get off the bike, we're going to the pub, we're drinking beer, we're laughing all day. And at that point, that was proper racing for me, if you know what I mean. We got there, yeah, we got some results, but you weren't thinking about that. Mm-hmm. And then I remember coming home and, like, right, see you later, lads, unpack the van. And I was walking through the wood, and I just sat down, and I sat there for 2 hours. I just sat there like, I can't. Life is shit. Like, I totally get with you. Totally get with you on that. And it's like you say, everyone would be suffering that. It's like, what? Hold on, is it holiday blues or something like that? They call it. People throw a terminology around. So if anyone can tag us in on a Facebook post or something like that,
blues, yeah,
holiday blues or something like that. But no, it is crap. But how are you doing now, then, Sully? Are you over it?
And at least the podcast is kind of, I know it's not actually riding bikes, but at least talking about it. It's sort of a little bit coming into this trailer, and you know, it's sort of
having the crack. Something
to look forward to each week. But I've got a few sort of little announcements, few little things. One of them is, obviously, for the last few months, we've been getting this beautiful shark helmet signed by all of our guests. So for Macmillan Cancer Support, for anyone that doesn't know the story, Lundy, who kitted this out, lost some family to Macmillan, and to cancer. To cancer, yeah. And so for kitting the thing out, he gave us this helmet and said, can you please get all of your guests to sign it, and we'll auction it off for Macmillan. So it came to the time where it's fully covered in signatures. We've got a lovely guest book to go with the helmet. So for anyone that's watching this on the YouTube, you can see what it looks like. So it's a white shark helmet, and it's covered in signatures from all of the guests that we've had on. The only person that signed it that wasn't actually officially a guest was Neil Mackenzie. When we're at the Mackenzie household, we've got a little signature from Neil. But yeah,
you got to seize the moments. You got to seize the moments, haven't
you?
And
it comes with this lovely guest book, which has got a picture and a signature of every time someone's signed the helmet, I've taken a little picture, and then it comes in this guest book. So it'll be an amazing keepsake.
So we don't look like con artists. Yeah. So there we go. So we've got legitimate proof that they've signed it, which is awesome.
This is going to be going on eBay, and I'll put
starting bid of £1,000.
I'll put the links all across our social media. But obviously,
please share it. Please spread the word, because, like I say, this is 100% going to charity. So please spread the word.
And on top of the helmet, we've actually got a few other bits and pieces that will be going with Macmillan for Macmillan Cancer as well. So a few of our guests have kindly given us some auction items. So we've got things like we've got the front nose cone off one of the Batham's bikes, Michael Rutter. So Michael had a crash at some point, and he had it just lying around, so he signed it, and we'll have that. So that'll be a nice sort of thing for like a man cave or whatever.
Well, we've got gloves and sliders
or a female cave,
like
depending who it goes to. And we've got knee sliders, we've got gloves. Tara McKenzie gave us a nice McCams Yamaha jacket.
That's it.
So as the weeks go on, over the next few weeks, I'm just going to be putting them on eBay, and we'll raise some good money for Macmillan Cancer. So
outstanding, mate. Absolutely outstanding.
So it'd be great if you can either bid or share or whatever.
Put your hand in your pocket and buy it yourself. There we go. It. But I tell you what, I think that leads us perfectly on to our interview, doesn't it? So would you like to introduce them properly, Chrissy?
Yeah, so we're down at Mallory. My teammate was Katie Hand.
After you broke a bike, there you go.
It wasn't her bike, it was Norman's.
Hold on, one of our sponsors' bike. Oh, you were doing well that weekend.
From the North Yorkshire, yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, Katie Hand and Lissy Whitmore. So welcome. So enjoy.
welcome and enjoy, and there we go. So, but no, here's the interview and enjoy.
Perfect.
Click, buy, deliver with the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
So we're down at Mallory Park, and it's great to be joined by two female racers. We're joined with Katie Hands and Lissy Whitmore. Welcome, ladies. And obviously we've been racing today at Mallory Park in the FreeTech Endurance race.
That's what you call that. Racing. Now hold on. Now let me get this straight and jump straight into it. Were you teammates with Katie today?
Well, for all of like an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right, brilliant. So you were a team. Obviously, you've put a lot of effort in. You've turned up, Katie. You've done your bit. So who broke the bike? Go on, Katie. No, no. I'm not asking you, Chrissy. Who broke the bike?
Well, it seemed to go downhill when Chrissy was on the bike, so...
Brilliant.
I'll take the blame.
Brilliant.
I'll take the blame.
There we go.
For those that don't know, we did the FreeTech Endurance race. It was my first time doing anything like this, and it was basically like you can have... There was a few classes within the whole race, but it's basically just kind of bog standard, like... production 125, and there was like scooter, all different forms. You could put any fairings. There was an Aprilia RSV4 version with a little 125 engine, but a 6-hour endurance race, and it was just it was a bit madness because we started in like chucking it down, torrential rain, Le Mans start, and then we'll have an hour lunch break in between, but you weren't allowed to touch the bikes. But by that time our bike was screwed anyway. And
obviously Katie's backed that up lovely by blaming you, which is fantastic, isn't it?
Exactly. Now a lot of people will be listening to this, and obviously female racers are kind of in the minority in the sport because it's a very sort of male dominated sport, and it's brilliant to see young females getting into the sport and then progressing through the ranks. So just go through first of all, how you got into racing to start with, and then kind of what you're up to. So go on, Lizzie, you start us off.
Lissy Whitmore, our guest, by the way, here, ladies and gentlemen.
So I started on an IMR 140 pit bike. Was it 2017?
Is that in the British mini bike?
That was British mini bikes, junior SM 140s, and then I stayed on that for a season, and then kind of we used it for training, and then we sold it and got the Bushi 160 F15R.
Great word in the motorcycle game, by the way, Bushi.
Bushi. What do you say? You don't say Bushi. You say, what do you say?
Bucky.
It's not a Bucky. It's a Bushi.
Bushi. There you go.
Bushi.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, we got one of the F15Rs, and we used that for training. I think I raced it once. Twice. And we used that for training. And then halfway through, is it 2018? No, 2019, we bought a KTM RC390 and we started doing track days on it. And then I went to Dad, can we race this instead of the Bushi? And he went, yeah, cool, we did that instead. So we started, and I couldn't get on with the KTM, so we...
And just to give a context, are you both around the same age?
I think so.
15, yeah.
Both
15.
And racing on the same tracks as like British shooter bikes and whatever.
Yeah.
And do you want to give us yours? How old were you when you first started, Katie, and what are you racing on now?
I was about it was about 2016 when I was on a CRF 100, ran around a field, and then I was doing, I did motocross for a few years, and then it was in 2018 where I got a R3 for Christmas. So that's when it's progressed.
An R3? What's an R3 then?
Yamaha R3.
Yamaha R3? Alright, so that's a track bike.
it's-
Sorry, no, I know, obviously, as we all know, I know nothing.
Do you know, there's the junior super sport,
Right.
and there's different you can have like the Yamaha R3 300, or you could go for the KTM 390, or the Kawasaki Ninja do a 400, I
Yeah.
believe. And that tends to be the bike of choice in that class.
Yeah.
The R3?
Yeah.
So are you racing sort of club level, but on the 300?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
And is that at like sort of Thundersport or Bempsey or?
Thundersport at the moment, yeah.
So you went from motocross straight onto the tarmac with the R3. That's right, isn't it?
Well, I did one time on a pit bike and then I just jumped straight on the R3, yeah.
So what was your... So you've gone from motocross and just thought, I fancy having a go at tarmac? What was that transition period?
I went, me and Dad went to a few like BSB rounds and Thundersport rounds, and I thought this looked cool, and I thought it was what I wanted to do.
Straight off the bat?
For me, there seems to be a sort of an influx of girls around your sort of age entering the sport, which is fantastic to see. Now, it kind of coincides with Anna Carrasco sort of winning the World Junior Super Sport Championship. It was last year, the year before. And obviously there's lots of other female role models in the sport. Was there anybody in particular that you seen as a kid and you thought, hang on, I can do that? And it's sort of that initial interest.
No, you can say no. By the way, you can't outrightly say no. You can say what you want.
There was a few. There was.
Jesus, sorry, just slapped the table there. Carry on.
It's mad with these microphones how every little noise,
Everything. You
like
can hear everything,
if
yeah.
you sniff, it's like, and like it amplifies everything. Go on.
I mean, I used to watch MotoGP with my dad loads and kind of just sit there, and I used to call. I can't remember who it was. He used to wear white and fluorescent green leathers and say, "Oh, that's Buzz Lightyear." that was like, I'm not joking.
So you went from Toy Story to straight out tarmac racing, beating the boys.
No.
Damn right. That's how you do it, Lizzie. That
no,
is how
yeah,
you do
it was mostly MotoGP in that, but I didn't really have much of a... I was young, so I didn't really have much of an interest, and Dad took me to B&B once to watch, and then he was like, "Do you want one?" I was like, "Yeah, cool."
So you never went down the motocross route then?
No. I came straight off the bat, 12 years old. I got onto a 140 pit bike, geared bike, and just went.
Really? No autos and
Nothing.
nothing. So what age were you then, Katie, when you got onto motor... and hold on, let's even go back a little further. What made you fancy having a go at motocross? Or were you that young and your dad said, "I'll tell you what, have a go on that. I can't afford you a horse." So it's a bit like, there's 15 of these horses in a little box, and you just twist it and go with it, and you just put it in the shed and don't have to feed it.
Well, my dad's raced all of his life, so that's how...
Ah, right. Here we go.
That's how we was into racing, and then we was on the CRF one day in the field, and I fell off it, and it put me off it for like 5 years, and then we went to a trials thing.
All right.
Where there was this, so then I just thought, I want to have a go at that, so that's when I got onto the CRF.
Right, so what did your dad race then?
All sorts.
Oh,
He's a
good lad.
He raced at the Manx. I was speaking to him earlier, and I've only just connected the dots. I've always when I seen your dad last week at Cadwell, it's one of those faces that you sort of recognise in the paddock, but you can't really put your finger on why.
Does he owes you money?
No. And I used to work.
His reaction, obviously, yes. There you go. So.
I used to work out in Spain at Almeria. And it's just connected that your dad used to drive the lorries of the bikes over, there is a bit of a connection. But he used to race at the Manx, and it was actually a link with James Counton. I think he rode he rode James Counton's 600 after James passed at the Manx, and and you run the Counton sticker on your bike and stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
It's you've kind of got that in common between
There we
you.
are. But she'll be much quicker than me, so let's face it. From that.
Now, we didn't really get to your role models. Was there anybody in particular that stood out?
Well, I would say my dad, to be fair, because that's what.
In terms of female, is that? Do you kind of just see the fact that you like sex is just do you just see that as irrelevant in terms of entry? Like,
Completely irrelevant to me.
because
Yeah.
a lot of girls, I think, would look at racing and see mainly males racing, and maybe that might be a bit of a put off. And it's
No.
brilliant to see
No,
that.
not at all.
It's brilliant to see that entry level being smashed recently,
Yeah.
and especially when you're beating the boys as
Yeah,
well.
no. I think mainly for me, it's the whole Maria Costello and Anna Carrasco, Maria Herrera, and then did you do the female cherry race last year and the year before?
I did it last year and I did it this year.
Female.
That there was a grid of all females. Was it about 40?
There was a lot of us.
Where was this? When was this?
This year was at Cadwell, last year
Cadwell.
Donington.
Yeah.
I was a grid boy in that race at Donington.
Were you?
You
Oh.
slag. Good lad. So, is that now? Who runs that then?
No limits.
Is it literally through a no limits event? That is fantastic. So, how long's that been going then? Hey, this is picking at the questions here now, isn't
A
it?
couple of years, isn't it? The last 2 years. Is
Yeah.
it linked with Dean Ellison? Has something to do with it, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Dean
it's his
Ellison's
wife. Yeah.
Yeah. She sorted it out
yeah.
and did it all.
Oh, fantastic! And onto like this year's race, and obviously you're both similar sort of classes. Do you race against each other, or do you keep different championships?
We have done a few
We
times.
have done, yeah, because we're both on R3s now, so it's kind of a. We raced at Cadwell at NG. You weren't at Castle King, were you?
No.
No. But then it was Thundersport and NG last year a little bit and stuff like
And
that.
Mallory.
Mallory,
Yeah,
Mallory
yeah.
Park, on Thundersport as well.
Now, I'm going to nitpick here. Now, obviously, we've had a couple of chats, obviously, like B&B and obviously doing the UK club sport. Because
Yeah.
you write columns as well.
Yeah, we do,
I'll tell you what, I'm
yeah.
going to put my question on pause then. So,
Alright.
obviously, English is obviously right up your street then, writing for columns. How did that come about then with Zoe?
It just bang. Like I got I think Dad's, because me and my dad, we both control like my Facebook. I think it was through Facebook, and Zoe contacted the Facebook page and was like, we'd like to have Lissy as a columnist. And I was at school, had no idea, came back, oh yeah, so blah 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 blah. I was like,
You're doing this.
cool, all right, yeah, that's pretty cool, that. So every month I do a little. Sometimes I write a little bit, and sometimes Zoe calls me and's like, "What happened?" I was like, "This, and this." But yeah, we do that every month, and it's all.
Did you mention the fact that your dad has control of your Facebook with you, just to warn off all the boys that are going to be messaging?
No,
He just sends them a selfie back, like, "Careful, lads, step away. That door is firmly shut."
I could just see that as well. Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh no. I think I'll just leave that question on them.
Now,
Yeah.
now you're just thinking, I'm going to get my dad off my Facebook now, aren't you? So,
No comment.
very media savvy there.
No.
There we go. No comment. Let's move on.
Now,
Straight off the
obviously,
bat.
it's the end of the 2020 season at the moment,
Yep.
so we're looking ahead to 2021. I know it seems miles away, but preparation will be starting to go underway in terms of bikes and getting ready for your classes. Have you made a decision on what bikes and what championships you're going to be contending next year?
You want to go first?
Well, I'll be doing a full season of Thundersport next year and a few BSBs. So.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I guess it's the perfect sort of stepping stone to have.
Yeah.
I mean, Thundersports are very competitive, but
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is it a 9-round championship they're planning at the moment? I think they are.
I think so.
That's what I've heard at the moment. So you've got 9 rounds to contend with there. So
But in terms of having the parity amongst the bikes to be pretty much the same, it means you can get up to speed at Thundersport
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
sort of challenge
Yeah.
yourself. And it's a really good grid at BSB as well, really entertaining racing. And with the pack being so close and slipstreaming being so critical, it just makes for great racing. What about you, Lissy? Sorry, I said Lizzie.
No, that's fine. Honestly, we'll be staying on the R3 for sure. There's no plans to move yet.
Right, because that was my question
That was the
before the
next
column.
one.
That was so it's a bit like you've couple of times said the R3's not quick enough. So what's the bike to be on in your class? Okay, no, hold on before you answer. What?
Well,
Yet again, hitting the table. I do apologise.
I would have said the R3, but I'm moving towards the Ninja 400 because they do have a lot more torque.
Right.
So that is the benefit of them.
So why are you you've already answered your own question by saying the R3. So why stick with the R3? What is it about that bike that makes you want to stay with it?
I don't really know.
I guess you've got all.
That's interesting. That though. Yeah.
I've been riding it for 2 years, and I don't know what it is, to be fair.
You get that
feel at
connection.
home,
Yeah.
And you're all the same, are you?
It's the thing is now, because before Castle Combe, I
was
didn't.
about to say COVID there.
No.
That's very politically
No.
deep there, Lizzie. Damn right.
No.
In and where it hurts.
Yeah,
Go on.
before Castle Combe, I only had 39 horsepower in my bike compared to everybody else who had about plus 40 at least.
And is that the Kawasaki 400s?
The Kawasaki's, I think one of my mates on the grid has at least 52 horsepower.
Yeah,
out of those.
Shut up, man.
Yeah.
And it was great because so at some points I was behind Katie. I'd get to her and be like, right, cool, and then she'd just go, I'm like, okay, there was no point me even doing anything. So getting the kit in, it kind of made my decision as like, yeah, there's no point moving to a Kawasaki now.
Just out of interest for our listeners and viewers, if you were to walk into, say, if you went to MSS, for example, and said, I want a 400 ready to compete in the Junior Supersport, what sort of are we talking?
That's the international language for cheddar, by the way,
Wow.
on this show.
So with no discount, just like full price, do you know the sort of money?
I don't know for sure. It'll be way over $4,000. More.
I had in my head about 10 or 11.
That's about that.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea on prices. I just kind of
Just
look
like
and
Dad's
go,
department.
Oh, cool. Thinking about it now, it'll probably be at least over $10,000.
On this show, we talk regularly about like motocross dads. It's a bit like, are you? No. Like we joke about it, we have a good time about it, and we're like, But I'm just wondering, like, is it you two knocking on the door? I'm talking about not just the man-woman element of it. I'm talking about as a couple of 16-year-old, 15-year-olds. Are you two braying down the door going, I want to go racing, I want to go racing, I want to go racing? Or is it in the middle? Is it kind of... Be a difficult one, that, because if I was 16 or 50, I'd be screaming at the door, going, "Come on, let's go!" Any moment.
The thing is, I feel like I should kind of let my mum and dad decide what we can do, because it's a lot of money.
Yes.
To go whenever you can, and obviously some people don't have a lot of money. So I just I say to Dad, right, well, this is happening, can we get there? And he'll go either yes, maybe, or no. Maybe usually turns into yeah, that's doable, but we probably shouldn't. But I love being at racing, but I won't push my mum and dad to get me somewhere if they can't do it.
Yeah.
Well,
do you know what? I've only known you for like in person for like just over a week, and straight away I can see you've got your dad wrapped around your little finger.
Yeah,
it was like
no denying it.
And last week when we were packing away Cadwell, I was kind of like, but I'm going flat tracking on Wednesday, and the look you give your dad, it wasn't like, can we go? It was just like, we are going as well. And your dad knows it as well, but your dad loves it really, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I know
He's sitting up there with a Domino's waiting for us after this interview, so there we go.
Yeah, no.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so. I kind of sometimes do give him a little bit of a nudge, saying like, yeah,
a
go
nudge.
to that one. Yeah, a nudge, a shove. Yeah, yeet. Yeah, no, he knows when to tell me no, but I'm not pushy. I'll ask, and if he says no, cool. Maybe I'll ask again. If that's a no, I won't ask again after that.
There we go. So what about you, Kate? Have you got your dad wrapped round your finger?
Well, at the start of like the season, before the season, he has a calendar and he puts like every day an event on it going. And to be fair, everyone that we can like meet and get to, we do go to, which I'm very thankful for, because like from about September to the middle of October, we was out every weekend on the bike, so it was a lot.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome, because like my mates, they just like football. You know what I mean? They talk about football.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, what are you up to this weekend? I'm going racing. What do your mates think of it? If you know what I mean? It's the same.
I'm very much separate from school. I don't talk about racing. Racing and school are two different things. I don't get asked about it. If I get asked about it, I talk about it. But if I don't get asked, I don't talk.
And just keep it. That was similar to me, to be honest, because all my friends were football, and it was a waste of energy.
Yeah, pretty much,
talking anything by Grayson. So I can relate a lot to that.
He could relate to it. He could have been a professional footballer. I'm not taking the mick here. He genuinely could have been a professional footballer. Anywho, let's move on.
What do your friends think about it at school, Katie?
Well, it's not a case of getting like taken the mick out of. It's just like there was once when I was doing a beach race, and I said that I won it, but the people that were in my race were like quite a bit younger than me. So I've had a joke ever since. If it's like brought up, they're like, yeah, but you race against like 12-year-olds. So like, what's? But it's like I'm not now. I don't like everyone's older than me, so.
The must, but even if they're not into bikes though, the must for both of you think it's very like admirable and cool, like what you do. It's very different, isn't it? Yeah. And to see you going out at, I mean, for us, once you step up the categories, you kind of look at like a 300 and you think it's you think it's like quite slow, but when you I remember being your age, and I remember getting on a production 125 and thinking it was the fastest thing in the world. The first time you get to 100, I mean, you must do about 110 mile an hour, 120
push, something like that.
It's over 100 mile an hour anyway, and it's compared to your friends back home, it's a lot faster than they're going.
Yeah, you do 100 mile an hour on a football pitch, mate.
Yeah. What about? Do you ever speak to your teachers about it? Are your teachers aware what you do on weekends?
Coming in with a bus collarbone and like, I fell down the stairs, miss. I can't do PE. I bust my wrist again downstairs.
I've actually had to do that before. No, they obviously sometimes I have to have. My school are quite like lenient with it, and if I need a Friday off, they'll say, right, as long as you've got your work done, you can go and do the Friday practice from school.
No, that's really good, because you're following brilliant. A sport. What about your school? We're going to pick at your schools now. Here we go. He's a teacher. We're allowed to pick at schools here.
No, that's exactly the same, to be fair. Quite a lot of my teachers do know about it. Like, my PE teacher asked me the other day, like, what CC bike I ride, and I was like 300, and they were like, what? I was like, it's not even that like quick. Like, bearing in mind what bikes are out there, it's nothing really.
It's mad, isn't it? If you're talking to your teachers and they go, "Oh, what's CC?" They don't expect a 15-year-old to be on a 300 because it's just a road bike. Like, it's mad.
And do you both have aspirations to go up the ranks into like 600s, 1000s, that type of stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
And what about short circuit road racing? Are you purely focusing on the short circuits, or do you have that sort of itch to maybe venture to the dark side?
I mean, I spoke to you about it last night, didn't I?
We had a quick chat about it, and it was just about the road scene rather than anything else.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely got an interest in doing roads, but I just need to think about it a bit more before I chuck myself in.
Sure. And what about yourself?
I'd definitely love to try it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome, that. And so we've obviously got a long winter ahead before the season. Is it just a case of focusing on your schoolwork in between, or do you do it? do you do anything else?
Wait, I'll tell you what. You are fully aware your parents are going to listen to this podcast, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what's important is that you're being honest. Yeah. So there we go. So very good there.
What do you do with away from the racing?
I'm in the Army Cadets. So
yes.
Yeah.
Guns and motorcycles, Lizzie. This is dangerous. This is a dangerous path you're on, dear. I like it.
Very, yeah. Every Wednesday.
All right. Okay, right. Motorcycle and sport to a side. What are you aiming to do then? So obviously, cadets, is this kind of a future career for yourself potentially, or?
I looked into it, and obviously Is this because
Thundersport have a motorcycle team? Is this why you're thinking
about it? Funny you should say that. It is kind of.
It's
the thing is, I want to keep going racing until I can't walk anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and I know now from talking to Ian Rowett and stuff like that I have support in the army. They will help me out if I need it. But the thing is, I don't fancy going there and having a gun pointed at my head. So I don't have that.
Kind of being a trade-off of being a soldier.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. No, it's, I'd love to have I know a lot of my mates. One of my mates, Jasmine, she's actually gone to Harrogate and she's training right now. She's at Harrogate right now.
Harrogate, so that'll be officer.
Proper, yeah.
Oh, right.
She's
fair play.
Proper gone for it, but I have no idea what I want to do. Like I want to go up to Moscow College and do the the sports, the motorcycle course up there. But
Yeah.
With Ryan.
yeah, we're right. Yeah,
The professor.
I have no idea what I want to do with my life at this second.
What about you,
Which is
Kate?
fair enough, you're 16, which is fair enough. That was a very deep, meaningful question. What about you, Kate?
Well, I used to want to be a personal trainer,
Right.
and it's now either a personal trainer or a firefighter.
Right.
So yeah.
Very good.
So that's the thing. We like, especially with this sport, we have such a unique relationship with adrenaline, don't we? So firefighter,
Yeah.
soldier, kind of up there, and there's you and me, woodcutter and teacher. It's not, it's not really quite the same, is it?
Do your mums come to the race now? Are your mums involved with the racing at all?
My mum, in the 3 years that I've been riding, has watched me ride a bike twice.
Really? Just no interest?
Not no interest. She just doesn't want to She doesn't want to be there when something bad happens, but then in the same breath it's like, yeah, but would you not want to be there if I end up going into hospital?
Mm-hmm.
But it's fair enough. If she doesn't want to come, she doesn't want to come. If you can't force her to come, it's purely the nerve side of things for her, bless her.
Right, okay.
Well, my mum comes to like every round, but does not step a foot out of the caravan because she just gets so nervous when I'm out there, and it just makes her feel so sick. Because like,
Is she here this weekend as well?
no, she comes when we stay like over
Right.
night to like the big meetings.
Yes.
So when we went to Donington, the only time she came and watched was at Redgate when I high-sided in the wet.
You're joking.
No, yeah.
Did you stand up? And I bet you saw your mum straight away. You were
No,
like,
she watched it happen and then convinced herself it wasn't me and walked away. And realised it was.
So
That's
what is it? Okay, like it's okay, right. How long have you been racing now, the pair of you? Roughly.
2.5, maybe almost 3 years now.
3 years?
Doing on tarmac like a year and a half.
No, okay, what about motocross as well?
Oh, I didn't race that a lot, but in total I've been riding a bike for about 3 to 4 years.
Right. So accidents. Have you had? No. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Because like injuries,
Yeah.
it's you don't go swimming without getting wet, and unfortunately, motorcycle racing comes with the inherent risk of really hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So right in your short careers, you have high side in front of your mum, which is really up there, really. So as far as injuries, what have you sustained, the pair of you?
I've got quite a long list, so do you want to go first?
My only like bad one, not really bad, but it was that wet on a motocross bike. It was like so wet. I was just riding along, and I just fell off to the side, and my like wrist folded around the handlebar, and it just fell down, and so I broke my wrist. But that's it.
Oh, God. Right, so I high-sided on camera at Landau in the damp. I high-sided behind car ride. On camera. They got it on camera.
Did you see the camera and thought, this is my moment?
No.
What after the injuries, the juicy injuries?
The juicy injuries, got concussion 2 times on the bounce. I fractured my wrist, kind of a little bit of a fracture. I tore my Achilles kicking up a Daytona 190.
Sorry, what? Kicking a Daytona?
Kicking, like...
So what did you learn from that?
Kickstarting it.
Oh, right, I thought you meant physically kicking it because you
kickstart-
fell off it. Like,
No, yeah.
stupid bike, yeah.
When I kickstart came back up and my foot slipped and it pushed my leg up into the foot peg and it just tore all the way up.
So when you went through these injuries, at any point, like you said very openly from the word go that you had a crash and you didn't really want to get back on and everything like that.
Yeah.
So when you broke your wrist and you've done your legs in, was that? Because we know the answers to this, you know what I mean? But for our listeners who are viewing this and everything like that, was there any moment in your mind that you thought, this isn't for me?
Not once.
And that's why you two are going to be champions. That is the damn truth of it. It really is.
I don't know about you, but I've never
No,
thought because of my injuries.
When I high-sided at Donington, I ran straight back through the paddock. I got myself scooting again, and then I jumped straight back onto the wet bike to rejoin the rerun of the race. So
That's
Brilliant.
how it's meant to be as well.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Proper man. God.
Fair play.
I mean, I was out of breath when I got back onto the grid, but
because you've just legged it up the paddock after being
exactly.
winded, so fair play to you.
I think Marquez took that that whole thing off of you, you know.
Marquez soft bag. There you go.
Do you know what? One thing that we were chatting last night and like playing on the PlayStation and stuff, and one of the things that I thought was really great was that you were talking about. So you sort of celebrating your sweet 16 this weekend here.
Yeah,
so big happy birthday to you for that one.
Much.
But
Thank you.
what was brilliant was you were talking very fondly about all of your birthdays over the last few years you've purposely spent at a race weekend, and sort of after a race weekend sat around the fire with your family and your mates, and it's great, like the paddock sort of life and that sort of aspect of it.
And now look what you've done to your dad. He's up there with Ryan Gosling sitting on it by himself.
But it is mega, the sort of community aspect of it.
It's brilliant. I mean, for the past 2 years, my 14th and my 15th I spent at Tattershall. And it was, the first one was completely out of the blue. Like, I turned up, I was like, yeah, cool, track day for my birthday, yep. All I knew was going to be there was Steve Carden to set up my bushie and we have a good time. And, like, Lewis Lakey turned up, Charlie turned up, everybody that I knew from a kid, all adults, all the way up, down, everyone turned up. There was about 30 to 40 people there. And last year we had it a bit smaller because I was just like, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, we do go-karting at night and sit in the fire, stay up like until gone 1 o'clock in the morning and just dance to music. Like, I had a wrestling match with Lewis Lakey.
Who won?
Lewis by that much.
Oh, that's a shame.
So
Lewis, if you are listening to this, there's going to be a rematch next year.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, with spending so many weekends away from away like with your dad and your friends and whatever at racing, you sort of we talked about your sort of friend group at school, and obviously I presume like a sort of girly group. When you get to your sort of age, you kind of house parties and starting to go out and stuff.
I haven't been to one.
Do you just not have interest in that at all?
I've never been invited to a party. I don't have a girly group of friends, and I'm not interested in the whole going to parties and getting drunk and getting involved with police and stuff. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Honestly,
there are different levels of parties.
Half of my mates, my age, they're involved with the police at house parties, and I'm just like, what's the point?
I think we've tickled Bex with something here. I think like crying with laughter. What about you,
Bex is
Katie?
sitting there going, I wish I had friends like these two.
I don't know about you, but that's just kind of my friends. What are your friends like, Katie?
Katie's like, I want to go get arrested.
Oh, honestly.
Well, to be fair, when I hear like some of the stories that my dad tells me of the times that he's been involved with things,
we are going to have to interview your dad after this.
It's like, well, I wish I kind of had someone to do that with, like ride a bike around, like with your mates, but like I don't obviously have anyone close to me to do that with, and no, I don't really. There was a massive like house party that everyone had last year. It was about a year ago, and it was when I was at the final round of. It was like the championship decider for me, the Darley Cup, and I'm so glad that I went there instead. Well, it wasn't even a choice really. I was going to go there. Like any day now, I'd choose racing over going to see mates or anything like that. Because to be fair, all my mates are at racing now anyway. So yeah.
That's the thing. Like mates are always there for you. So I know the fact is you're chasing a dream, and it's fantastic.
One thing, obviously, being teammates with you today, I can see that.
Yeah, for how 10 minutes. Cheers for breaking a bike, Chris.
I can see that you've been blessed with having such a competent mechanic as your dad. Straight on the things.
Yeah.
Do both of you dabble in with the tools, or do you kind of not your department?
I do try, but like I understand
Dad, fix it.
Yeah, I understand that my dad kind of wants to do it because he wants to know that the bike's safe.
Like peace of mind type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to have a go at helping. Obviously, I want to go and do this course at Preston, but I want to let him get on with it because I understand it's his peace of mind and his little. Okay, right, she's safe. I did that, that's fine.
You are far too intelligent for your years. She's found the perfect excuse. But Dad, this is what you want.
No!
Dad, fix it.
No.
Dad, it's not for me. It's for
No,
you.
it's the thing. Like I offer to help him. I offer to say, right, do you want me to whip the back wheel? Like, do you want me to put it back? He's like, no, let me do it because I know it's right. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Because he doesn't want to face his wife, your mother. That's what he doesn't want to do if it was Pete Tong. There we
Oh,
What
No,
about you,
but
Kate?
fair enough, though.
Do you
you
do
know what I mean? Fair
any of your own mechanics?
Well, I wouldn't say Dad has OCD, but it's a
But
case. It's a case
but
of
Dad has
he's like very precise with things, and if
Good.
it's not right, like,
to have it right.
and if any bike I go on, it has to be like mechanic and checked by him.
Good.
And everything.
No.
See?
And that's
Apart from
good.
the one we went on today.
Yeah, Chrissy broke it, so there you go. See, when you get to a professional stage like Chrissy, you know what I mean, he just swings his leg over and just counts, right, I'm going to ride it, and I'm just going to ride it till it gives up. There you go, 10 minutes in, he does it, so there we go.
I've got to say mine, and this goes for...
She's going to want to cancel this part like after it, like, I'm going to go in her dad, like, lads, can you not put this one out, because me dad will be listening to it.
I've got to say, and this goes for both of you, that the job you do in terms of your image and on social media, your website, your the image when you turn up at the track, the way you have your awnings laid out, the how you present your bike, you're both doing a fabulous job. And obviously you see some people turning up in just like real shed jobs but where you both sort of gone in terms of professionalism beyond your years, and it's a great place to start. And in terms of getting sponsors, do both of you do you find it difficult getting sponsorship? Do you talk us through? I mean, I presume at the moment it's very sort of self-funded by your families. Is it a case of trying to get sponsorship? Or
I don't know about Katie, but most of the things that come, it's only just within this month we've had someone like really brilliant Stuart WGA Construction come along, but before that, and it was Jeff Fitchett and Railroads UK and Andy and that, it was little bits. They'd help us out with gear and helmets and that. Stuart's come along and he's starting to help us out, but before that I literally have no words to describe what my mum and dad did for me. They sacrificed everything for me, and I don't know how to describe some of the things I could do to give back, because it's just they pay for everything out of their own pocket and they struggle enough. Without racing, it'd still be. Don't get me wrong, we'd be better, but it's not a margin it's margin difference, because they put everything they've got to make me happy, and that's all I've asked of them, and that's sacrifices that they can't. They've just made just because they want to make me happy.
do you need a tissue, Dom, for you?
I'm tearing up, mate.
I totally get what you're saying, and it's funny
His
as well
dad's
because
3.2 million in debt to him. So
it's funny because because you're doing it with your dad, and your dad sort of putting a lot of the money in, whatever. You automatically think the gratitude towards your dad. But when you actually stop and think,
it's mum and dad.
Your mum's actually
Mum and dad.
equally putting the money in, but not getting the same not getting the same enjoyment out of it.
No.
So it's
Katie's
probably
mother, on the other hand, is getting a caravan
it's
every weekend. So
it's probably
Yeah,
it's probably even more so for you for your mum in that respect.
I really feel bad for my mum sometimes, because she's a domiciliary carer, she does caring, so she's in the NHS system, so she's had to work really long hours, and every spare penny of that money has been getting me to race weekends. And it's the same with my dad. He's been working his ass off for everything, and just to get me on track.
Well, I'm sure goes without saying, I'm sure they're both very, very proud, and at
I
least
really hope so.
what's
I really do.
your mum's name?
Nicola Daniels.
so
Thank you very much. Your mother?
Alison.
the moment of
Thank you
fame.
very much, Alison. There you go. Thank you very much.
They'll be putting a hell of a lot of investment in, but at least the trade-offs, they have an awesome daughter. So
I really hope I make them proud, honestly.
sure you will do. And what about you, Katie?
Well, my mum and dad do both work long hours for me, and it is very appreciated, because my mum has her own business, but she has 3 businesses within one.
I want to know now. Come on, this sounds interesting.
Well, she's
She's not the inland revenue, is she, or something like that? The way, if you're going on that podcast, dear, don't mention the revenue.
Well, she's a hairdresser for one. She has a cleaning business and she has a caring business.
Holy, that is a busy woman.
Yeah, she's very busy.
I bet.
Yikes.
No wonder she comes away in the caravan, so she's
No,
going to
I know.
sleep. She's not just not watching. She's just got her feet up, going. God,
No,
look at Alison.
to be fair, when she's not up at 6 a.m. making cooking me sausages in the caravan, I do get a bit annoyed, but
Mother, pick up the slack. I'm starving. Big day ahead. We've got to get the results.
In terms of your sponsors, I see Hull Beach. Is it Market Hull Beach that sponsors you?
Small Boy Track Bikes, Whole Beach and Cycle Tires, Penrite Oils, and Make It Happen Solutions.
Fantastic,
Brilliant.
and it's brilliant. The like I was saying about the professional image that you you sort of portray, and obviously with the Yamaha having the old sort of yellow, the traditional yellow things, and all the awning and everything. And a little shout out for John, who's clearly helping you out with your social media and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had as many mentions on Twitter today, so you get quite a lot of interactions on that one. So congratulations for that.
So let's go down like even a silly little question of mine, like colours. So you're known as the Purple Princess. So what is the yellow referencing? Is this through the Yamaha connection, as Chrissy's just mentioned, or?
Yeah, it's just. Well, when Dad first asked about colours, I was like, because he's always been yellow and blue, and I quite liked that. So I was like, yellow and blue then. And he was like, well, I quite like this one. Well, so, and then it turned out, and I just love it.
I bet you're popular with the wasps and the bees in summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Where was it? Was it here? George got stung in the neck and you were just covered in wasps. Was it here? Yeah, that you were getting like... Did you not see?
Oh, were you aware of this?
The back of your bike was covered in wasps.
Okay, I'm not aware of that.
Is this the same time as your concussion, by any chance? Now you're thinking about it.
Honestly, I've got...
There was a point in lockdown where I was cycling and I like flew into a wasp and it was like straight in my eye there. And I mean, my eye was massive. I woke up the next morning and you couldn't see through it. I couldn't see through it. It was hideous.
So the Purple Princess.
Yes.
That has no connection to a motorcycle on the calendar whatsoever. So is it just your favourite colour?
We literally, I'm not even going to lie to you, we just went, what's everybody else doing? Okay, reds, blues, purple's nice. That was it.
Well, you
That
needed
was such a downplay on that question there.
No.
Purple's a nice colour.
We got somebody asked us, do we need a logo? So we were like, yeah, cool. Right, what colour do you want? We were going through the colours, and I wanted to be the princess after the doctor. And we were playing with different ideas, and they just went, right, we'll add a colour into it, make it a bit different. I was like, right, cool, okay. Red princess, yellow princess.
Sound like a super villain, the Red Princess. The Red Princess.
And then I just went, purple princess.
There we go.
That's it.
I guess a lot of races have like little
A nickname. I was about
nicknames,
to
and
say.
so you've the Purple Princess, the
Princess,
Doctor, you've the Blade. Katie, have we got anything going?
Would you like to start something?
How about Katie, this fast tatey? Just have like a little spud.
Yeah.
Dom's not impressed with that
Tom's
one.
really not.
I don't think I'm getting John shaking his head.
I'll
as
tell you
well.
what, right? Seriously, when Katie becomes world champion, like, you know, the first woman to win a MotoGP, she's going to be on the podium like that going, I would just like to say a big to Chrissy Rouse for really giving me that nickname, that driving force, really elevated me at the game.
Have you got anything?
No, I don't know.
We'll have to come up with
Would
something.
you like to know what are you thinking? I got Dom the Bomb because I wrote off more bikes than I did Orange Bibs. I kid you not, that's how I got that name. What's yours is the teacher, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that a little bit.
You don't really have a racing nickname, do you? Go on,
Well,
hold on.
Chrissy's
He's just giving
my
yours.
nickname.
Oh,
Go on
not
and
a
give him
clue.
one. Just
What's your favourite animal?
what the?
I don't even
Give
know.
an animal.
Trying to think of like things that rhyme with hand. If that can go, we're looking for.
We've got nothing here.
Nothing.
So anyone,
We'll come back to it.
everyone
We'll come back
listening,
to
if
it.
you've got a
We'll come back
nickname,
to it.
you're going to have one glorious
Well-
moment in racing where you're going to knock someone off or something like that. And you're going to, and that's a nickname.
Yeah.
What about anything that begins with Y? So the yellow.
Yellow. Oh.
Anything that begins with Y? Can you think anything cool? It's got to be something cool, hasn't it?
Yemen. The country, Yemen. That's all I can think of, not going to lie.
I'm not going to go for that.
Well, we'll
yellow-
definitely give
yeah.
you some food for thought between you and
Yeah,
your family
definitely.
to actually come up with that sort of system. So there we go.
Now, just with your logo, I was looking at that, and for some reason, I was thinking that was the flag of South Africa. Now, before you,
I thought it was
before
Jamaica.
before you actually say what it is, Dom, would you like to have a guess what that is? I know the answer because you told us, but would you like to guess?
I think I know what it is.
It's
Go on, Lizzie.
Is it Devon? Why did I think it was Devon?
It's obviously a county flag, isn't it?
I think
It
it's
is a count-
where you live in the county.
Oh,
This
is that
is-
the Lynx flag?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, the thing is, because I keep seeing that flag and I can't remember where I'm
Because
seeing
it's your
it.
county.
Yeah, but I can't remember where I'm seeing it
You'll
because I
think
go
of
to
it as
Devon.
like South Africa, because that's what everyone thinks it is.
It does look similar to
Yeah.
South
No
Africa.
wonder you two did well at this event. It's all run by South Africans today, isn't it? Did
The
you get an
thing is,
invitation?
I go from my grandparents on my mum's side live in Devon, so I go from Devon to Lincolnshire like I only go once a year, mind, but I just get really mixed up with my flags, and obviously I'm not very good at flags now, am I? Because I thought that was Devon.
I think we're going to have to start bringing up these quizzes again, aren't we? So there we go.
Oh, God,
Absolutely,
here
there
we
we go. But so you're doing Thundersport next year. You're gonna
Do whatever.
whatever you can, whenever you can,
Yeah.
which is absolutely fantastic. But honestly, ladies, thank you so much. Like, every time we do an interview, I feel like we miss something. It'll end up coming up. But he's got one.
Yeah, I've got one. Obviously, I mentioned your social medias. Give a
Yes.
plug for
Plug.
how can people find out a little bit about you and follow your progress?
And give you cheddar.
Well,
We need monies.
right, my Facebook is Lissy Whitmore #34 and my
It's a Jamaican flag in the background. If
Yeah.
anyone wants
no, not Afghanistan.
it. Carry on.
All right. Anyway, right. My Instagram is Lissy_Whitmore_34.
Are you reading that?
No, I'm looking at the microphone.
Sorry, I thought you were looking down
No,
at your phone.
no,
That was
no,
so
no,
well
no.
done. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go from the
And
beginning.
then
Sorry,
Do I have
sorry,
to-
Lizzie.
do I have to
Yes, you
go
do.
from-
Go from
Right.
your plug. Go for it.
my Facebook is Lissy Whitmore #34, I believe. I think. Right. Anyway, my Instagram is Lissy_Whitmore_34, and my Twitter is LissyRacing34.
There we go.
Okay.
Go on, Katie. Here we go. The
Um,
pressure's on.
My Instagram is Katie Hand Racing. My Facebook is Katie Hand Racing, and my Twitter is Katie Hand 66, where there is also clothing available to.
Smooth.
look at
smooth.
Wow.
Smooth.
We haven't got clothing yet,
What-
otherwise I'd be plugging it.
What
What, she's texting her dad right now.
The lovely-
Forget the dominoes. I want bobble hats.
the bright the bright yellow hoodies? What else have you got available?
There's hoodies, t-shirts, caps, key rings, like coaster things.
Fabulous.
Go
So
on.
get your full wardrobe kitted out.
Yeah,
Katie Ann.
basically.
I've came up with a great idea for you
Don't-
as well.
Oh God, not
For-
like
for
the last
me,
name. Is
Better
it? Come
than
on.
Katie the Tatey. It's Katie the Speedy T. What about do you know like how people have supporter clubs? What about having Katie Hand and the Yellow Band and have like a group of a yellow band that come
Yeah,
round with
that's
drums
sick.
Oh
following
my
you?
god.
I did not.
Katie Hand with a yellow band.
What,
Come
all of
on.
them wearing like yellow blazers and stuff like that. You're on
I don't know.
something, Chris.
Use your imagination, but I think I've
Definitely not yours.
I think I've possibly planted the seed, and if you need, I used to.
Oh, yeah.
I used to play in a brass band. So if you ever need a
Sorry,
I used to
what?
play the baritone.
Exclusive on Chasing Racing, Chrissy Blue Trumpets.
Oh dear.
But I think that's a great time to wrap the interview up. But ladies, I know this this can be
Wow.
quite daunting. This type of thing coming on camera and also on the microphone and doing this. And it'll hopefully be great training for you for later years. But thanks very much for coming on and enlightening us.
Yeah.
And we'll wish you all the best for obviously have a nice winter off season, and then all the best for next year.
Awesome.
Very
Thank you
much.
for coming on.
Thank you very
Thank you for
much.
having us.
Stop doing that,
Stop
Dominic.
doing that,
Right,
Dom.
I do apologise.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thanks.
See you later.
Thanks, ladies. Take care.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
Click, buy, deliver with the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
So a cool little interview, and what a lovely couple of girls. really nice, nice kids.
And definitely the grid seems to be filling up nicely with them all, if you know what I mean. So it seemed like that women's only event, that sounds fantastic. Was it a track day firm or something? See, this is the problem. We've done this interview like a week ago, so now we're trying to recap in a timeline. So it's trying to keep this professional and tidy. But
no limits to a
no limits.
Yeah, women's only race.
That's it. And the grid seemed definitely full. And
I think Maria Costello does some women only track days as well. I think
that's it, which is absolutely ideal. But like we said at the beginning of this episode, it's just so good that they just want to race bikes. There's no other quote unquote bullshit around it. Just they want to go racing bikes like every other human, and it's absolutely fantastic. You're flying the flag, ladies, and it is absolutely great. So thank you so much. But I tell you what, Chrissy, we actually better do a little bit of work, really, shouldn't we? We should talk about, well, the BSB's over, World Superbikes is over. So what we've got MotoGP. And Moto3 was an absolute crash for us. And I'll tell you what's weird is that you actually haven't done this, and this is where the pressure's lying on me. So
roles reversed a little bit. I haven't actually caught up with MotoGP from today, so it's over to you, Dom.
I'm going to pretty much just ruin it for you, though. So it's pretty much us Brits suck. So John McPhee crashed out, which was absolutely... Yeah, he did.
Was it a big one, or did he crash out
near
the front?
He lost the front. I tell you, Valencia, it has caught so many people out, which I'll tell you what, we'll skip straight into Moto2 news.
Explain John McPhee's one first. Was he like leading the race or near the front, or
no, mid-pack? He was mid-pack, and he just followed the front. The bike actually rolled over the top of him.
And is that his championship hopes?
Oh, totally scuppered. But you see, not only that, I think the 5 other championship contenders all crashed out as well.
Really? Okay.
Honestly,
is he far behind in the championship still? Or?
No, not really. Not really.
Right.
See, detail, I just watched it like a normal human being. I didn't really take that much information from it, but it was fantastic. It was a lad on the Red Bull KTM. He flagged it. Such a clean race, you know what I mean? So tidy. And then, like, going straight into the Moto2 side of it, we suck again as an island. Sam Lowe's crashed out, even though he was leading the bleeding championship. Mm-hmm. But he's
been on such a roll recently, Sam.
3 wins back to back, and you think, fair play, that confidence was unshakable. And he had a really crap start, and he moved up the grid and he chipped away, and he was in a really comfortable second position, like really comfy, like unfazed, you know. You think he could just see the championship in front of him, keep going, nothing too special, and he's been saving the front on that cut, like that particular corner. I think it was turn 3. I've been wrong many a time before, so I'll probably do being wrong again there. But no, he picked it up. He's been doing so well, and yeah, it caught him out that time, and it just boof, off he goes, and he got it up, and now the good thing about MotoGP is they can restart. Unfortunately, couldn't get the bloody thing fired up again, so he just went down and down and down and down, which is not good. And then as far as the MotoGP's concerned,
so I think, is he about 7 points behind in the championship now? Something like that.
No, not a 6. I think that's brought him down to 6. So it is all still to play for in that championship. But
very much so.
He's got to compose himself. He's put himself in a lot of pressure, because Portimao's the last round, isn't it? And then they're back at that track. Which track were they at?
Valencia.
I just said that before. But Valencia. So
do you know, as a spectator, as a fan of the race, and I don't necessarily support there's not like riders that I think support just because they're British. So for example, in MotoGP, I don't watch MotoGP
because there's Brits in it.
I'm not watching for Cal Crutchlow and be like,
he did crap, by the way. Has he got a job? Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
I'm not sure, but I don't like, just because he's British. Like, my favourite riders in MotoGP are different nationalities, and where for me, Sam Lowe's, he's like one of the only people that I watch, and I'm like massively willing him on. I really like him as a person. I love his character. I love the way he goes about the sport. Every time I've met him in real life, he's been so like nice, and I just think he's great. I'm a huge Sam Lowe's fan, and I would absolutely love to see him take the title this year.
I would. Who wouldn't? You know, who wouldn't?
Out of all of the classes, and out of all of the people that could win, like, if I could choose one, it would be Sam to win the Moto2. He's like, yeah, massively. But I hope he can pull it together. And unfortunately, we had some other sad news with Jake Dixon crashing out in free practice 1 or 2. I think.
Was that big? It was his hand again, wasn't it?
It broke his wrist. Yeah, it was a nasty crash. It was like sort of tricky conditions, damp patches, and as he was tipping into a right-hander, the rear came round quite quickly and like sort of snapped and chucked him over the handlebars. Went down and broke his right wrist. So he's been
being in Manchester, he was in surgery today, and we're recording this on what day is it? Sunday. Yeah. So he was in surgery today.
Was he back to the arm clinic in Manchester?
Yeah, so he's straight back there.
So if he'll be, getting ready for next year. I think he's got a ride sorted for next year anyway, hasn't he? He's going to be
Cronus. Yeah, is it back on the same team?
Rossi's teammate, yeah. So
fantastic.
He'll have another good shot, and he's been coming good at the end of this year. So it'll it's a shame how to finish the season like that, but at least he's got a real good ride sorted for next year. And then, obviously, MotoGP, I did actually catch the warm-down lap, but I didn't see any racing, so go on, you can tell us what happened.
I didn't really actually soak that much up, really. It's a case of Rossi, unfortunately. Now, hold on, let's talk about him. This American, what an opportunity he had. And he only was only free practice he did.
Yeah, so basically Rossi's missed the last 2 Grand Prix for positive COVID tests. And even though he was positive for ages ago, he had to prove he was negative because I think he got a false positive test or something.
Right.
And so he wasn't allowed to
race,
to ride on the Friday. So they brought in Gerloff, who's the American in World Superbikes for Yamaha.
On a not the factory Yamaha either, it's a satellite Yamaha.
That's correct, yeah.
So he hasn't even been given the opportunity like the factory American team.
And he didn't know the track either. I don't think he's ever been to Valencia. He's never raced there. And what a job he did. I mean, I think he was the biggest talking point on Friday. Especially the commentators were loving it. And
how could he not?
It was like sort of tricky conditions, but he was fast in both the dry and the wet.
Never been on a MotoGP bike, bearing in mind.
And he probably went for it at one point when I was watching free practice too. I think he got up to like 5th or 5th or 8th, and the commentators were like, he was ahead of all the championship sort of protagonists, and he did a great job. And it just goes to show, giving like a young person, like a young hungry person, an opportunity, and he went out there and did a marvellous job.
Didn't crash, really mature ride, and it just worked. But I tell you what, right now, I know you're a huge Rossi fan, and the world wanted to see Rossi back on the bike, and there'll be contracts behind closed doors why he had to do this and why he do that. But who wouldn't want to have seen that American ride that bike? I was just like, oh, come on, man, you could see.
America needs some people in MotoGP. Obviously, they've got Joe Roberts coming up through the Moto2 team, and I think he's left the American team for next year, and I think he signed,
clashed as well.
He signed with another a competitive Moto2 team. I can't remember who it is now, but Joe Roberts is obviously a good hope for America, but they could do with some more. And I'm pretty sure is Bobier not going to World Superbikes next year, or I'm sure. Oh no, he's going to Moto2.
Moto2, that's it. Yes, he's moving up from
Cameron Bobier, who's wiping the floor with everyone in Moto America. Has got a chance in Moto2, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. Be interesting, obviously going against the best riders in the world, or some of the best riders in the world, in such an even class. So hopefully we'll. It's in this. The interests of the whole sport to have competitive riders from all nations. Of
course it is.
And it keeps the interest in obviously America's a huge market for motorcycles, so it's great for the sport if there's some competitive Americans.
And speaking of Kenny Roberts, he's American there. He is American, isn't he, Kenny Roberts?
Yeah.
Thank God for that. I thought he was an Australian. When I looked at you there and you just had that glazed look thinking,
what about Kenny Roberts?
Well, Kenny Roberts, basically, Suzuki are leading the World Championship at the MotoGP.
Yes, they are, yeah.
And it was a 1-2 for them in the final race there, and that was like, you're thinking, fair play, Suzuki have just come out full guns blazing. And like the commentator team, like Hodgson there, and oh God, that's terrible, is it? Who's the other commentator?
Gavin Emmett.
Yeah, that's it. Gavin, I know he listens to this as well, so I'm sorry, son. But Gavin had a very good point. It actually looks like a motorcycle.
Was it Keith Ewan or Gavin?
It was one of them. It was one of them anyway. It was one of them. But they made a very valid point. That Suzuki actually looks like a motorbike. And at first I heard that, I went, what the hell are you on about? Of course it's a motorbike. But he thinks, when you look at all the other bikes, especially the Ducati, it looks alien. It looks totally bespoke just for that one track, but the Suzukis actually look like they've kicked the number plates off and they're riding at the world's highest level. And I like that that look about it, that rustic, raw look about it. It's
like a traditional motorcycle look.
Pretty much, aye.
And
still got the wings, though. I'm a huge fan of the wings.
Quintoli's been the test rider for them, so obviously he must be doing something pretty special. And like you say, a few years ago, I mean, can you remember when Maverick Vinales started winning on the Suzuki? Then he got
the world changed that day.
He got an offer to stay with Suzuki for, like, I think it was stay with Suzuki for €6 million, or he could go to Yamaha for 2 million. And he must have thought he had a much better chance of winning the world championship on the Yamaha, so he left. So he went for, like, he could have stayed at Suzuki on much much bigger money, 3 times the money.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
And he went to Yamaha trying to win giving himself the best chance to win the championship. And it's right now you would argue that the Suzuki's a better package.
At the moment, it's exactly that.
And obviously Mir getting his first win today. That's his first ever win in MotoGP.
He's leading it.
He's got a decent lead as well. 27 points, is it?
27 points, and you just think, fair play, mind. Quartararo, he binned it out on the Yamaha as well, so it's not been a successful day. Yeah, Rossi broke down, and you just think, this is not going well.
Any news on, is Marc Marquez coming back before the end of the season?
No, I think he's called it a day, but I tell you what, funny you should say that now. You know, when he cracked, at the beginning of the year when he did his arm in?
Yeah.
I just want to talk about how much of a class act this man is. Like, the fastest laps, when they put him up, he's a second quicker. Mia's track, he did 131.9. Like, Marquez is doing 31 flats. Like, he's nearly a second as a record, and you think, my God. But he's doing that consistently over every track. But when Marquez crashed originally, when he lost the front, saved it on his elbow, picked the bike up, he went from the back and he nearly caught Quartararo before he binned it.
Oh yeah, at Jerez.
It was unreal. Yeah. It was just like this. It just think the sport is missing Marquez, and we've discussed this in other podcasts. It's made, quite frankly, the most interesting MotoGP racing in my lifetime, without a doubt. You just look at it and go, anyone can win this now, and you think it's opened up the playing field. But after looking at that today, what Quartararo did, he was considerably further back, but he rode that entire race, got up to 15th because people were crashing out in front of him, but he never gained it because he was doing the same lap speed as what Mir was doing. And you think, Marquez went from the back.
Oh, he's next level, isn't he?
He's just incredible. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. Is any word on this all going next year? You can't predict anything with COVID at the moment. You can't make any plans. You can't make any promises, which is bloody gutting. You can always prepare for it, but is any word on the MotoGP calendar?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't really been following it that closely.
I tell you what I am over the moon with, though. There's 2 more weekends. It's stretching out the summer. Because normally it's all done and dusted, isn't it? Mate, I've just realised, recording this, I should be in Macau.
Is this sort of time, is it?
Yeah, I should have been on a flight yesterday. I should not be sitting in a trailhead burnout field. No, so Macau actually only released a statement on social media. Then we've all been given emails saying, obviously, it's not happening, because their exact word was the willingness for riders to participate. There was no willingness for the riders to participate. You think, well, of course we're willing to go, but we can't be locked up for 2 weeks. So, but anyway, all the politics. But no, I'm really hopeful to get back there in the future. I really, absolutely love that track. It is unreal.
There's been a few announcements in BSB as well. Of Andy Owen's just been announced to be
good lad. You see, we're getting back in the flow now.
Synetic BMW, and also Faye Ho's been announced as the new team owner. So basically, taking over from Smith's Racing.
Yeah. So the colour scheme looks nice, Mike. This turquoise. I'm a fan. Turquoisey, grey, black. It's kind of a Patronus kind of thing, isn't it? But
I've not actually seen the bikes. I've just seen.
But I've seen the logos and stuff, and they tend to base the bikes around that, don't they?
True.
But it's
and so signed Forez, so coming back from World Superbikes again. So on the new BMW, so Forez and Hickman in Superbikes, and then keeping Alex Olsen in Superstock.
How's he doing? He had a
I'm not too sure. The last I heard, the injuries were very, very serious, and
the good thing is, though, that Lissy secured. If you know what I mean, there's nothing better than having that security of going around that. But I tell you what, let's talk about this. How are you getting on, son? Are you Well, what's going on with you at the
obviously
moment?
I'm looking for a superbike ride.
You're still looking.
That's what I'm hoping for. I've got nothing at all sorted. Nothing even promising at the moment, to be honest.
And so, for me, that obviously I'm biased. You're me mate.
Yeah.
But that's disgusting. You know what I mean? There should
It's
be. It's the
just the
sport.
way
No,
it is,
no.
isn't it?
Look, you're too nice, man. You're too nice, and I know what you mean is totally political and. Yes, there's so many options and blah, 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 but, you know, for me, speaking as a mate, it's total, utter shit. You should be on a superbike. You need to be on a superbike. Mm-hmm. So, if any of our listeners out there, well, you know what I mean?
I've got spare superbike.
Yeah, plenty of cheddar. You know, you could, hey, mate, you did it yourself with, obviously, your mates and Phil Crow and everything. I mean,
we're looking to, obviously, my aim is to be in superbikes. I would really like the opportunity because I think I'm ready and I think I'll do a good job. But if not, I guess I'll be looking to go back to Superstock and try to defend my title. But yeah, my priority is to try and get a superbike ride.
Spread the word, people. Spread the word. No, but don't get me wrong. If there's actually any multi-billionaires out there looking deep into the lens here, give it a wink. But put the lad on a superbike because it comes with baggage. A road racer. So if you want to fill all the categories, he'll go win your British title, and I'll go race on the road. So I
tell you what's funny. Made us laugh earlier is I've just remembered I've got a hospital appointment tomorrow, and it's the first time I'm going to see my surgeon after he did my operation in March. It's like a 6-month checkup, and I was just thinking how funny it'll be tomorrow when I go in and like sit down. Or how's the shoulder feeling? Like, have you done much on it? And I'll be like, well, quite a bit. Imagine that. The last time I seen him 6 months ago, he was
pinning you back together.
He had my shoulder like 6 inches, like a big hole in my shoulder doing a surgery, and then 6 months later, you wouldn't believe what I've sort of fitted in between.
Considering his recommendation was for 6 months, Chrissy, could you just do absolutely nothing? If you could just sit down, don't even inappropriately touch yourself, that would be ideal. Just do nothing. Right, no bother, mate. Not a bother.
Looking forward to getting a checkup, but I tell you what, are you planning on doing any like winter series or riding through the winter?
Yes, so again with the Motor Pit Bike Spares team, they have this winter series for the mini bike, and the mini bike series is absolutely fantastic, and really let's be blunt, it's a small operation at the moment which is growing rapidly, especially with Peter Hickman's involvement with the O'Varleys and him running his own championship and the professionalism. But see, Rich Energy from Alan from OMG, he's sponsoring the outfit as well, and Alan and his wife and the whole family, in fact, they're growing it, but from proper grassroots. But I'm not meaning that as they know what they want, they know how to build it, and that's what they're doing, and which is absolutely brilliant. So they've been doing, I think, for a few years now, they've been doing this winter series, and I did my first one last year, and I couldn't attend all the rounds, but it was absolutely good crack. But because of COVID and everything, I think it's like the back end of December when it's going to start, but it runs up to March, and you get out once a month and get to play around on motorcycles and go blow off the cobwebs, young'un. So no, I'm looking forward to getting back with Adam Ryan's team there from Pit Bike Spares Side Motor.
Fantastic. Boom. And also just a quick shout out that we've got some woolly hats coming, going to be available soon on our website on the merchandise section. If anyone watching the YouTube, I'm modelling one now. So yeah, we've got some male ones and female. The male ones have got one pom pom, and the female ones have got two,
resembling boobies.
I think we've got a few other things coming. We've got a bag coming. We've got a bag with a big Chasing the Racing logo on, and then on the back it says a lovely, lovely bag.
Oh, right. The TT cases have been busy then. They have been busy.
We've got I think we've got a snood coming, a nice
don't say that word, man. Don't say it's like saying the word moist to women. They just don't like it. Snood. Well, it should be removed from the English dictionary.
The neck scarf. So
we had a Zoom call with some of our patrons, and he said, "Oh, we've got these snoods available." I said, "Who on here wants a snood?" Not one of them said yes.
They're quite handy for COVID actually, because instead of having masks and all that type of stuff, if you just wear a snood, if you go into a shop or whatever and you need to wear a mask, you just pull it up above your nose.
There we go. You see, health and safety mad on this show, but I tell you what, it's good. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be chewing me words in a couple of months now. The biggest seller's going to be these bloody snoods, isn't it? You'll be like, oh, Dominic, have some of that. But there we go. So what's the plans for... Well, wait, what are the plans? We've got a couple of...
Not much. We'll get some... we haven't actually got any guests sorted for the next month or so we'll...
considering we're going into lockdown, so
We're
you
in
might just
lockdown,
get a
yeah.
lot of boredom from me and Chrissy talking about MotoGP.
We'll get some guests. I have actually got some ideas. There's a few ideas, and we've had some good suggestions from our patrons as well, so we'll get them sorted.
Mint.
Also, for people, if people are, like, say, furloughed at the moment, off work and a bit bored, Rob Mac started his Rob Mac Memories up again on Twitter, and I'm sure loads of other people will get involved, like hopefully Whittam and a few others. So if you head over to Rob McElhenney's Twitter page, you can follow along there, and I think he's opening up to questions, so if you want to send him some questions, and that podcast went down really well. It's only been out 3 or 4 days, and I think we've had about 5,000 or 6,000 downloads, views on it. So when you,
it's getting there.
Yeah, so it's going well, and I think that's about it from us. There's I guess it's bit of a boring time of year, and I guess we'll get
we somehow end up pulling it out the bag somehow, Chrissy, so don't you worry, son. I'll try and work on some jokes, because that first one was shite, like, so there you go.
It was shit.
I know it was disgusting, but I'm trying to cheer you up considering you were going to slit your wrists 2 days ago, so there you go. But
but big thanks
awesome,
to our patrons. Huge thanks to our sponsor,
Colchester Kawasaki.
Colchester Kawasaki, that's it. And I think we've got a new theme. No, what's it called? Like an intro coming from Colchester Kawasaki, because the one that the one Luke sent us was actually, I think it was only supposed to be for like 1 week or maybe 2 weeks while we've got another one. But we have got one promise that's coming on the way. So
mint, absolutely mint.
That's coming soon. And yeah, we'll just keep a podcast a week coming out. And look forward to catching up with everyone sometime soon. But for now, take care.
See you in a bit.
Click, buy, deliver with the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chersin the Racing.